further ado, let's talk about 5 different threads that you can get into. So thread 1 is you can, and again, I'm going to give you all, there's going to be some pretty long comments I'm going to drop in here, so just bear with me. Also, if this is the first time you're joining us, feel free to drop your questions in there, and I will, try to help you all with this. Okay, so step 1 is persona research. So I just dropped this extremely long comment in there for you, and I'm going to share you all, just so you know, you can take notes, which is great. I love that. I'm also going to share a link at the end where you can get all of these prompts for free. So you can just go check them out, etc. So we'll make sure to do that. So thought here, yeah, it's just funny that's exactly what my trainer said. He's like, okay, if we want to dunk, like, you just need to lose weight. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're probably right. So persona-based research, okay, is what I like about this is whether you're a tenured rep, whether you're someone who's new, if you want, so much of sales is getting in the mindset of the buyer. And there's a difference between, look, I might, my teams and what I've been very successful at is you need to have personalization today to stand out for sure. But if your teams don't intimately know what a VP of insert, let's call it VP of operations, what they do, how they're KPI'd, how does that differ a VP of operations from industrial manufacturing to consumer packaged goods? My friends, if you do not know what a persona does, you are not going to be able to cut through the noise. And you certainly, even if you do get a meeting, you're going to almost always get relegated down because you can't have a more senior level conversation. So what I like to think about is imagine like a series of prompts. And again, I'm going to drop a whole list of prompts for y'all to say, okay, I've got a meeting coming up, CTO, e-commerce company doing between 100 and 500 million. I'm trying to think through, typically the pain point that we solve for the CTO is this and this. What are the top 3 industry trends that I could bring up? And again, if you're using something like Claude 2 or Bing, it can search online. ChatGPT will be able to do this again. It did used to be able to do it, and they didn't like the results, so they took it back out. So just think about that. I can get up to speed really quickly on a big meeting I have coming up, a persona. And then, there's actually the next level is like the intersection of multiple personas. I'm putting together the course for LinkedIn for ChatGPT for sales, which we'll be filming here in 3 weeks. And one of the prompts that I wrote for that course was, I've got a meeting with multiple stakeholders. This person cares about this. This person cares about this. What are the pitfalls that I want to avoid when I'm talking to this persona versus this persona? So just think about that getting it, Brian and I always call it impersonation. Wow. Can you get better at having senior level conversations with ChatGPT? This is not just for booking more meetings, although everything I'm telling you right now will help you with that. It is also for having much higher level conversations. That's number 1. Okay. Let's call it persona-based impersonation is a big one. All right. Number 2. And again, a lot of these things kind of go into each other, but I'm going to talk about objections. And this is, this kind of is, call it role-playing ish. I think we've got some role-playing will be kind of the 4th one that we talk about. But top objections, this to me is like, maybe I do or don't know, or I want to anticipate or even gut check. Like, I mean, for those of you who've been in sales for more than a few years, man, when I was running my first thousands of meetings, I would at night, if I had a big meeting the next day, I would think through, I'm like, okay, I'm meeting with this person. What do I think they're gonna, what do I think they're gonna say? How are they gonna say it, etc. Now I'm telling you with ChatGPT, I don't need to guess. I can just say like, all right, I've got this meeting. Let's just take that. Let's just keep playing out that CTO scenario. Got a CTO coming up. Typically their objections have been this. And Brian, this is one of the prompts I was working on for the course too. What are some things that I need to put into the presentation to make sure that those objections don't come up, or we answer them before they come up? So again, just think about once you build this like persona-based chat thread, you can really start to interact with it and go deeper and deeper. So think of step 1 is like, how do I have better conversations with this type of persona based on what they care about, their goals, KPIs, all of that. Step 2 then is, how could I potentially rework what I'm planning to talk through to better resonate with those individuals. So that would be a big one for all of you as well too. So just think about that. For those of you who don't, just FYI, before I go into number 3 here, make sure that you sign up. We're kicking off on Thursday. Myself and Kevin Dorsey, who's a good friend of mine, are doing a whole 9-part series, and who knows, it's 9 to start. Maybe it'll turn into a full-time show called AI Unleashed, where every week we're going to talk about AI for sales. We both firmly believe it is one of the most transformative technologies that we've ever seen, and the way and potential impact it can have for an organization is absolutely limitless. So make sure to sign up for that series. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. So there's a shameless plug for Thursday. It's coming up. Okay, I've got even more stuff. Gosh, it's just like it's all for free. Becca, we got to like gate this stuff or charge for some of this stuff, I feel like sometimes. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. So my man, Brian, if you guys don't follow Brian, just check out, he's commenting on the post so you guys can go and follow him. This is one where Brian's building these just crazy, like, mega prompts as he calls them. But really what this can allow you to do is think about the idea, this idea of pitch demo, or, Brian and I call it kind of problem solution alignment. It's pretty wild, meaning if you think about how often, this part of the pitch, and all of you have maybe sat in on a sales call where, the salesperson didn't listen. They just jump right into it. So let's say you set up your persona. Okay, so you've got your persona thread. This is, you interact with. I'm having higher quality conversations. I'm understanding what's happening in the world. 2, then I'm doing objection, like pre-planning my pitch to where it's more objection handling, et cetera, what's going to come up. The flip side of that is to tell it, okay, what do you do? And how might I talk about what we do in conjunction with, what their top priorities are? So I want you to think about this one. This is one where I can set up a pretty robust prompt. Like I said, I've got, for those of you who make it with me, actually, maybe I'll share it after the next one, which is where you can get access to all the threads and the prompts that Brian and I are working on right now. But now imagine with this third one, I can say, okay, I'm talking to this person. I've reverse engineered part of my pitch. Now, how can I better explain what I do to fit their world? And look, for a lot of you, again, if you've been in sales for a little bit, you're like, Jake, I already know how to do this. Just please do me a favor. If you've been in sales for 10 plus years and you're like, Jake, I already know how to link pain points back to what I heard. I already know what my persona does. Just do me a favor. Okay. And I'll make a deal with you. I will happily set up a 30-minute free kind of career consult, sales consult, or anything if it is not valuable, right? So it's a money back from your time guarantee, even though I'm not getting any money, is go spend 30 minutes doing some of the prompting I'm talking about. And if you don't find it valuable, I'll do a free 30-minute call, career advice or sales advice, help you to book a big meeting or something. I'll tap my network for you. But take 30 minutes and see if this doesn't help your sales game. Again, even if you've got 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of experience, the ability for it to, again, say, okay, well, Jake, you're trying to get a meeting with the CTO of this e-commerce that sells into manufacturing. We've thought through what some of the objections might be. Now I've told it more and more about what we do and what the product is. And now have it try to match that up in the customer's language. So you can imagine, I could say, okay, write out how I could describe these things that would be most beneficial for a CTO and in the way that a CTO might want to communicate. So I could think about how to highlight very specific parts of like what we do to better match that. Okay, this is so good. So this is the one that a lot of people, this is probably the most eye-opening one. When I talk to senior sales leaders, number 4 here, this is the one that is probably the biggest aha for them. There's a version of this called Trivia too. Brian, I don't know if you saw, I dropped a trivia skill build for ChatGPT in the LinkedIn script. So I think you'll enjoy those for sure, which is another kind of prompt style, which is to build a quiz. Role playing is kind of similar to it too. okay, is I want a lot of you to think about, again, when you think about these role play scenarios, I can literally do a role play with ChatGPT. And I can say, okay, ChatGPT, you are this persona. You typically have these objections. I typically solve those challenges this way. Now I want you to act like you're this buyer. I'm going to run a discovery call with you, and I want you to be a difficult buyer. I can literally, and I can even say, after I ask you a question, answer how you think you should, and give me any additional objections if I haven't dealt with them. So what I can do is I can literally tee up this kind of mega prompt that teaches this one thread how to act and behave like my buyer, just building on the previous three that I basically said. And then I can sell it to her, start role playing with me. So if you're a rep out there or you're a sales leader, my friends, like if you're a sales leader, I'll start with you. What this is going to allow you to do, the ability for your reps to build skill faster. This is transformative. Before, if I wanted to have a good conversation, and again, I'm telling you, the data is not, it's not like, perfect, but it's certainly better than nothing. And what I mean by that is, like, as you go through these threads that we're talking about, the idea to have this prompt where it's like, what's the persona? What's the objection? How do we then better solve for what we do? And then role playing that. Hey, I've got a meeting coming up with this persona. This is what they do. This is what what I expect the challenges to be. I'm most nervous about strategic positioning. So I want to walk through you how I'm thinking about strategic positioning to this persona based on their potential objections. And I want you to give me an objection for every value point that I have and tell me if it becomes convincing or not. Boom. Role playing. It's crazy. I mean, it's like, think of ChatGPT. Each individual thread is like you have your own, just like, I don't know, like, group of leaders that you can like fake interact with or interact with every day, every second, every minute. So you don't have to wait to just, get better by, just like running extra meetings. You can get better before the meeting ever started. So that way when I show up, I've already had 4 versions of this conversation with the CFO before I even ran the meeting. How much better can you get as a seller? I mean, again, the opportunity here is pretty remarkable. Okay, follow-up responses. Follow-up responses is an interesting one. Good. I'm glad I'm seeing some claps out there, some celebrations. That's always good. I like to see that. Lets me know that it's resonating. So follow-up. I'm going to talk a little bit about follow-up. I actually think there's some other kind of cool ways that we can do this. And then after I talk through this, we will do a little bit of Q&A. If you've got any questions here, I haven't seen any come up, but if you all do, drop them in there and I will be happy to take them. Okay. So again, think about building this all together and having it help you to write like a typical follow-up email. Okay. So think about this. Okay, I'm meeting with the CTO. This is what they typically care about. This is what it typically is. Help me to write a follow-up email, assuming these variables are true, that helps to drive action and next steps. You can then just copy and paste and just make some small tweaks and changes to it. Did I not copy and paste in thread 4? Oh, whoops. No, for thread 4 should be in there, Rosalind. It should be. Did I? Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. You might have to just refresh your piece. There we go. Let's go to it. Follow-up responses. So again, all these different things, live version, you can do it in the real world way and not just through text. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen a Jarvis live version. Oh yeah. Well, that's kind of what we thought the metaverse might be, Jonathan, is like this like live version where you could interact with people. We'll get there, Jonathan. We'll get there. Maybe, I don't know when that'll come, but certainly part of it. So follow-up responses. Okay. And also I'm going to toss in here creating momentum in the deal. Another thing I like to think about is who else is, potentially involved. I could make sure I type up a scenario where it says, I tell it in advance, like, hey, usually HR needs to get involved and I need a clever way to say it so this person doesn't feel like I'm trying to go around them. Great. Boom. I'll do that. right, as a part of it. So after the call, I can just create kind of a series of follow-up templates that will be very, very, very helpful. So I don't have to do that. And then also, like I said, I'm a big fan of using it for both driving momentum. Again, like, could I make suggestions on other people to be involved? And it can, and again, if I feed that to the thread of like CTO, no CMO involved, follow up. And I could basically come up with some reasons why, that person might want to be involved. Another one, I'm going to toss this out here. This is a bonus one. It wasn't in the notes here, is contact re-engagement. So think follow up. People ghost you. People go dark all the time. It happens, right? Even to me, right? Not very often, but it happens. So let's picture a new world where I can do the persona. I can say, hey, here's the deal situation. We had 2 calls. There was a follow-up. They didn't respond back. I think this is probably what happened. Write me a 25-second personalized video script that I can record a personalized video and send to them. I can just tell all of you right now, and this is a departure from the AI, just more of like sales advice. Personalized videos to get people back is the best. If you get people that literally ghost you, send them a doesn't need to be highly produced, personalized video, hit rate through the roof. Okay, so that's one. Have it write you a script for that person. You're like, what should I say? I don't know what to say. Well, just, do that. So again, I'm telling you, personalized video works. So if you are here with me now, you could be watching a replay too. Here you go. Here is a quick link. So there you go. If you are here with me after the first, I guess I started a minute early, so it's 20 minutes. Check it out. You can get all these threads here. Becca will give you access to those if you just request it as a part of that. All right, my friends. So there you go. There's 5 ChatGPT threads every seller can use. Again, so many people just need to take time and sit with this, and think about what it's going to do, because it's going to be pretty impactful. There you go. Best Ghostbuster video. There you go, Jeff. All right. So question here. AI Chief Scientist Executive Officer. Oh, here we go. And I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna say Narges. So if I pronounced it right, let me know. If not, I will do better. Jake, do you see an opportunity creating a better version of ChatGPT that eliminates the mega prompt creation just for sales activity? Or is it just good enough as it is? FYI, we do use these threads for both of our sales and fundraising process, and it's crazy helpful. Well, yes, and because basically I think what a lot of people are getting at is, there's these mega prompts that you have to know how to manipulate the system. It's just like if you guys remember in Google, right? Remember in Google, like you had to get really good at Boolean searches, like it must include this, exclude this, etc. And it would then give you really good operations. The next, and this is just some food for thought for people, okay? The next iteration of these tools, and there's one I saw called God Mode. Brian, you probably know a couple more of these, is what they actually do is, let's say if I send a prompt, I said, I need to run a better conversation with a CFO. Okay, the next iteration of these tools isn't necessarily like you need the prompts for now, but the next iteration is it will then say, great, tell me more about the CFO you sell to. And it will be more of just like ingesting the information and guiding you through with the questions versus you having to know how to do it. And Brian, you probably have a POV on this as well too, but that is the next iteration. The next iteration is we have these generative bots that I know when you ask this question, link-wise, it could mean one of these 4 or 5 things. I'm going to continue to ask you questions to get to the heart of what you actually need and get you the right answer, right? Because I'll give you a good example. We're toying around with some things internally. In the next probably 4 or 5 weeks, we'll have some fun things to talk about. But if I ask the same generative bot, even with my own answers in it, and I say, what are the keys to a great discovery? What are the steps of a great discovery? What are the questions in a great discovery? You could imagine any rep could mean the exact same thing, asking all 3 different questions, but not saying it the exact same way. So yeah, I mean, that will be even better. But I would think about it like that right now, I mean, it is interesting. It's like, again, when you ask me, Jake, what would you include in a great discovery for this type of buyer? Well, if I've got a template, maybe I should show you the template. Well, if it's that buyer, should I customize it to the CFO? So we're at stage 1 here, maybe even step 0. So it's a really, really good question. So I would say, I think that the next iteration will be this like ongoing prompting. So instead of you having to know how to write the mega prompt, it will just help you to get there. It'll just take another 20 minutes or something like that, for you to get there. Or there's some other cool ones. You can just tell it kind of your outcome. I want to build actually almost all the use cases I've seen, which is kind of scarier for like marketing plans. I want to build a marketing plan for this target market that does blah, 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 that does this, and this. And then it will kind of just start to prompt you to get there and then like help you develop the plan as step 1. So yeah, another one I'll toss out here that I've really enjoyed is I like to make ChatGPT play trivia with me around specific topics. So, imagine what's the one I created last night? I think it was something to the effect of like, okay, ChatGPT, I'm trying to improve the quality of my executive conversations with CFOs of companies doing between 100 and 50 million in manufacturing. I want you to create a 10-question trivia game where you ask me questions of what an executive or leader might care about. I'll answer, and then you give me the next question and tell me why. Boom. And it's kind of fun. So it makes the learning. Why I like using trivia-based prompting is because, ChatGPT gives you the answer. And if you've been in leadership before, you and I both know when you give someone the answer, our brain doesn't kind of learn it the same way. When you make it trivia, it can be kind of a fun way to do it. So, think of trivia games. You can also, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. You can play Kansas City Chiefs trivia. It's actually not that accurate for Kansas City Chiefs trivia, but I can play like Kansas City Chiefs trivia only years like 1995 to 2005. And it's like 80% accurate. It can't really distinguish sometimes like between like different types of like championship, which is kind of fun. But I love the game one. All right, Gianluca, what's going on, man? Hope you are doing great. Long time no chat, sir. He has a question. It says, Jake, when it comes to give a prospect a clear view on the market, how do you manage data collecting with ChatGPT or other tools? I think the question, and again, I'll take a crack at it. If it's not quite what you meant, just feel free to clarify. Industry trend aggregation is actually a really strong capacity. Again, ChatGPT, not as much because, it stopped. It will be, there's different webhooks that you can still, like if you have the developer platform where you can use it. But like, let's say if you're using a Claude 2 or using Bing, for example, Bing, I can go to Bing and Gianluca, I'm going to take this like another step for you. Okay. I could say, look, I'm meeting with the CFO. This is the company, copy and paste all the details of like, this is what the company does. This is what I think this person, what are the top 3 trends I need to be aware of around this person? And here's like a copy and paste of like what we do as a business. And then it can pull some of that out. Now let's go to the next step. Then what I can do is I can say, here's their last press releases, and Claude 2 can take in a ton of data, or even if you have a link to like their press release. Please review the last 25 press releases for anything that may be relevant to about us. And so I really feel like you can get a sense for trends, things that are happening in the market, ways that you might be able to help them strategically by using some of these tools and aggregating some of that information. So it's exciting. It's all exciting. You just have to make time to learn. So make sure you make time to learn, right? Join us on Thursday. It all kicks off. Make sure to go check out what my friend Brian is doing in his daily AI show. So if you're like, Jake, Mondays and Thursdays are just not enough. Like I just need more in my life. Then check out Brian Daly. So that's what's up, everyone. And if you want, feel free, hit me up. Here, I'll drop a link as well. Sign up for the sessions on Thursday. I will drop it one more time. If you did not get the prompts, boom, I got you. Here were the prompts. And go check these things out. All right, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you all on Thursday. It's crazy. We've got like 700 something, 800, which is like COVID numbers for signing up for this AI Unleashed show. So it's going to be a blast. I'm pumped. Kevin's a good friend, so we're going to have fun doing it. And I hope this helps all of you. Share this with your team. Tag your sales leaders. My God, sales leaders, please, you need to learn how to leverage these tools. It is a game changer for sales, sales performance and productivity. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you on Thursday. Take care, everybody.